It does not move. The other day, Gohar shared with you, shared with you an exercise. So how many of you have done that? Okay, that's great. Okay. So would you please share what is, according to that exercise, what is your finding? That what is your philosophy?
I got progressive. That's the one where I actually scored a lot. However, there were some other areas as well. Humanitarian, where I actually scored a little lesser than that, but it was pretty much like, so the high score was 23 with me, which was with progressivism.
Okay.
And after that, there was humanitarianism,
Okay.
which was 20. And at the same time, I had the third score, which was constructive 45. It's like constructivist.
Okay. There are 4 general schools like Greek philosophy school, like realism or idealism, and and there are 4 educational schools. So it was just a your inventory that where do you see yourself by default and naturally without developing your philosophy. What is your natural trend? How do you do whatever you do in the name of education? So you you are humanistic, progressive. Okay. And you, madam? Cognitivism, I got the highest score in cognitivism. Okay. And then in progressive. You see that there are here 2 participants in the room. They say, one say that humanism, the other one says that she has got maximum marks or numbers in cognitivism. So if I compare these 2 professors, what I would understand that one one professor works with the overall personality of the student. When she says that I am humanism,
so it's basically pragmatism.
Pragmatism. Okay. If yeah. Okay. If you say that that my natural trend is towards pragmatism, it means this is problem solving. So whatever is the way to solve the problem, we teach the students that how to solve problem. So this is called pragmatism. If it is humanism, it means you are more interested in the personal development of the students, their personality development, overall their grooming, physically or mentally and emotionally or spiritually, and all that. And that is the human being matters the most as a product to you. But if you are in the realm of cognitivism, is mean you are more concerned about their mental development, understanding and knowledge building, and it is mind area. So Ira, would you like to scored high on humanism? Okay. So anybody else?
Yes, but I have equal score for pragmatism and feminism, and then I have 1 mark left for cognitive approach,
Okay.
as well as for information processing algorithm. So what about that?
Right. Okay. So this was the purpose of this activity, this practice, that you first of all you see that what is your maybe your natural potential as a teacher, where you are naturally doing with the mind of the students or with their personality or with their scientific approach, with their senses, critical thinking, problem solving, whatever you are doing. Well, thank you. So what was the objective of this session? At the end of this session, you will be able to write a statement of your teaching philosophy. This is, I hope so, but provided if you have done already that exercise, and if I have been effective in my talk by the end, then I hope that we will do it. So for few further questions, how do you define learning? Anybody online, please, would you share your ideas? How do you define learning? Shasab, can they unmute themselves?
No, you can raise your hand and then I'll unmute you, or else you can write your responses in the chat box.
Okay, okay. So here in the room, please, how do you define what is learning?
It's a two-way process. It's not just that the teachers always are imparting knowledge, but students are always gaining knowledge. It's a two-way process. Like teachers are also gaining knowledge from the students from the diversity that they bring in, the kind of knowledge. Because the students are also responsible for building up knowledge. It's a shared thing for me.
Right. One professor says here, she is of the view that learning is a two-way process and it happens in the class when there is interaction between the students and the teacher, then learning happens, learning takes place. So learning is a collaborative effort between the teacher and the student. So please, when you share your ideas here in response to my question, please keep in mind it is going to be the stuff of your teaching philosophy. It means you are saying that I believe that learning is about this collaborative effort. This is coordination, this is interaction between students and teachers in the class. So whenever you say that, you have to keep in mind that it is going to be the part of your teaching philosophy. So here, anybody would like?
I'd like to add something.
Hmm.
Learning is something when you see something and you've been able to spot that thing and execute it practically. So not just like in terms of theoretically, when you've been able to just put that into it, like into a practical learning, that's what I would say. You have to execute something by actually understanding something or learning something. You would be able to execute that like into your practical something that from which you can
Great.
actually do something.
Great. So another participant, she says that learning, to her, learning is whatever is practical and it works in practical life outside the classroom. So why I say that it is your philosophy of teaching, because you will be creating or crafting some activities in the class which you think enable your students to be practical in life, and later on it will be working for them to make decisions somewhere, or maybe for career building or for their decision making. So you will be doing different thing and she will be doing something different in her classes. She defined no issue that you don't need to be like that, and she does not.
No, but these are integrated. I mean, it's not that what I said is from what you said, because these are linked together.
They are linked together, but you are unique people. Okay. So I have to save the diversity as well as to see that there is their unity in diversity as well.
Learning is more about exploring,
Okay.
and then internalizing the meaning within
Yeah.
yourself.
Good. So this is Socratic style of teaching. One participant says that to me, learning is exploring. So when you say that exploring, it means you are not giving students some kind of, I mean, spoon feeding.
Or
Okay.
standardized set of
Yeah, are standardized sort of things, and you are actually developing curiosity in the students. They are seekers in your classes. When they take your classes, you do not actually give them some ready-made formulae, but you actually tap their quest for truth or for learning or for whatever is their field. Great. So in this way, when you, so this is the first ingredient here at this slide, that when you start writing your philosophy or your teaching statement, you have to define what is learning, and you have to put this definition in your statement, that I believe and I think, or I am of the view, or in my view, learning is so and so and so, and it happens in this way, and the objective of learning is such and such.
So we have a few online comments as well.
Mhm.
Ms. Rana Rubab Darani says that acquiring knowledge through study is what she thinks. Ms. Sadia Makoor from English department says that any acquisition of new knowledge that brings about a change in ideas, behavior, or decisions, And Miss
Mhm.
Asma Basharat says that learning is the knowledge that equips you to do something.
Right. Yeah. So knowledge building. So we can classify here that there are three areas of learning, and some people call it KSA, some people call it ASK, ask, to remember it for a long time. They say it's ask, ASK, attitudinal area, then skills building and knowledge building. So where do you see that learning happens, in the attitudinal building or skills building or knowledge building? Okay. Welcome, Dr. Sir. But thanks God, it is not actually typical philosophy. Gofer, it is still problem. Next. Yeah. How do you define teaching? After learning, how do you define what is teaching then? Anybody please? What is teaching?
Impart the knowledge to the knowledge whatever we have.
Okay.
To
Okay.
impart them
Okay.
to individuals that we have.
So teaching is a process of imparting knowledge from teacher to student. Okay. Any other definition of teaching? Yes, madam.
Is to facilitate and stimulate the learning process.
Yeah, there are different metaphors which we use for the teachers. That what metaphor would you like to opt for yourself? For example, as a facilitator, as a advisor or guide by their side, or typical professor or lecturer or motivator. So in this way, when you identify an appropriate matter for you, then you can define teaching in a better way. That this is what I think is teaching. Teaching is to facilitate students learning, or teaching is to impart knowledge. Any other?
To add value in their lives.
Add values in their lives, and uh, I mean, this is transformational process, you believe? Okay. Anybody else?
To not just think about students as empty vessels to which we're filling education in, right? We think through with them and try to think through the critical process. There's this example of Socrates teaching a student who had no background prior knowledge of maths, the Pythagoras theorem, for example, in a very short span of time. So rather than it being a very top-down kind of approach where we are forcing knowledge upon students, I think these days teaching is about students being able to unlearn and relearn, and
Yeah. Yes. So there are different definitions of teaching coming out. There are participants. One of them is saying that it is imparting, eliciting information, and helping uh, to generate new kind of knowledge in the students, or it is to develop listening skills in the students. So all types of these activities can happen in your classroom, which you can say that this is the process of teaching, and it can be. But since there are overlapping areas in teaching and learning, if we say, then what is the purpose of education then? There are ideas, there are writings, there are experts who identify some purposes of education. What do you say? What is the top purpose of education to you?
But it's about imparting students life skills. Like the students need to know life. It's not about gaining theory only, but also part that knowledge. I need to use that knowledge practically, like as ma'am said. But yeah.
Again, I would say that I am just facilitating you that maybe you can work in an area, attitudinal area, behavioral areas, skill building, knowledge building. And one of the participants here in this room, and she is of the view that the purpose of education is to develop life skills. What else? Anybody else?
It is to facilitate students to go into unknown areas.
Yeah, that is more philosophical purpose of education, that we should motivate students or facilitate students to take risks, to go into the unknown areas and explore new and new venues for them to learn more and more. And that
To contribute towards the society as well, so that they can, we can, finish this sentence, that we should, teach them the ways to contribute to society. That's more.
Because I believe man is social.
preparing students for contribution and leaving a legacy and impact. Great.
I mean,
Whenever they're learning, they should be able to actually use that to help their society. Because otherwise the purpose has failed.
Okay.
We have to live in this
I mean,
society.
the
We should be
critical
facilitating others.
Mhm.
The critical theorist in the Frankfurt School of you say that the purpose is to emancipate human beings from the circumstances that enslave them, to finish human suffering, on a grand macro scale, which we don't think about. But I think everything does not need to be applied practically. Even theoretical or abstract knowledge has its own positive, benefits for the students on its own sake. So everything does not need to be translated into something ready for the market, for example, right? Which is like frame which we are always using, make them market ready, for example. Sometimes they just need to question the market, which is so unfair.
Yeah, great. So this is also a great point. But when we say that this is holistic development of the child, and child is in many hands, so maybe some teachers are working with their minds and in the areas of abstract knowledge. Some are working with their hands and developing maybe some psychomotor skills and practical kind of things. They are also required. Some teachers are teaching them that how to develop their emotional intelligence, how to work in the society, and how to deal with the people, interpersonal skills. So these are the areas of specializations, and everything works from pure knowledge or from philosophy or abstract truth to the market requirements and problem solving and practical impact in the society. It all works.
That's what
Yes.
I would like to add something in the purpose of education.
Yes, please, sure.
Number one, basically, teacher, it's a very broad term. Teaching, I don't think so. It's so simple.
Mhm.
So, the principle would be, of course, no doubt, is to impart the knowledge.
Mhm.
But we should also work on the upbringing of the student. So, education and upbringing should be together.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is not only our duty to just impart the knowledge, we should also upbring the student.
Personal development,
So,
their personal development, character
exactly,
building, okay, personality enhancement. Yeah. So what does it take to be an effective teacher? I do not say that excellent teacher or good teacher, but effective teacher. Who is an effective teacher? And this is all about your teaching philosophy. When you will be just combining all these things in a paragraph or in a page, it will be called your teaching philosophy. So
Effective teacher is an empathic teacher, and the teacher who always teaches with his or her own experiences.
mhm.
When you bring your experiences live to the class, they learn more. That's my experience.
Fine, great.
Teacher is also always approachable for the students,
Okay.
giving communication
So
and available to help them.
yeah, whosoever is approachable is an effective teacher. Okay.
When we're talking about experience, I don't think so. Okay, your experience will reflect experiences of student body.
Mhm.
So we have to be concerned with this way as well. But on the other side, to be an effective teacher, I think the one who helps a student raise difficult questions.
Okay. So
Which is someone who could impact
Mm.
on their lives.
okay.
Not on just like educational level, but on personal level as well.
So yeah, thank you.
And it's a role model as well, because if you, for instance, if I want to teach some values to my class, and let's say, for instance, I want to teach my students that you have to be regular as it is comfort, but I come into the class myself late or I'm not regular, what am I teaching them? So I'm not a role model, so that's not going to teach them anything.
Yeah, but those who are online, that please you can understand that on my right side, I here am being the facilitator of this session. What I can understand that on my right side there is a different style of teaching, and they define effectiveness differently. On my left side, they are defining teaching effectiveness differently, and that is the uniqueness. And you online, you say that it is fair expectation or flexibility or showing patience while teaching is effective practice, or it is called effectiveness in teaching. Yes, so I can see that everybody is unique, everybody is different, you all have different definitions of learning, different definitions of teaching, different definitions of the goal of education, and you people are defining differently that what is effective teaching. And when you will be writing all that in a cohesive way or in a coherent style, as you are teaching statement, one page or two pages statement, including these points, it will be called your personal mission statement, or maybe your teaching philosophy or teaching statement in this way. So, well, thank you very much for sharing your ideas. Now it will be helpful to have a better speed. What is a teaching philosophy? This is a typical definition that it is a statement that outlines an educator's teaching beliefs and practices. That's all. It outlines or it elaborates on your teaching beliefs and practices, and there are many things in practices. Okay, and it includes not only your beliefs about teaching and learning process, but also concrete examples of the ways in which you uh, practice your beliefs in the class, what you do in the class, whatever you believe. That if you say that I believe that the goal of education or the learning is about personal development, or it is cognitive development, or it is skills development, or problem solving, or contribution in the society, then what do you do to practice this belief in the class? So when you elaborate on that and give some examples that this is what I do in the class, this is what I believe, and this is what I do, and this is my enactment in the class. When you put it in a writing, that is called your teaching philosophy. It is not a different.
Wouldn't you also include values?
Yeah, it.
Values in practice.
Yeah, they are coming. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. But at its best, a teaching statement gives a clear and unique portrait of the author as it is your portrait. And they say that there is your avatar with the AI or with the softwares that they have your portrait or your image, and this is your portrait, and whatever you put there, that is your color, and you are unique as a teacher, as facilitator, as the guide in the class, and you have a different approach to teaching, and it should be different from others. I'm mostly having problem with my click. So there are some key benefits of having this statement. Yeah, it conveys your teaching beliefs, values, and goals to a broader audience. If I want to know that what is your belief about learning and teaching, what do you value in teaching, in this process of teaching and learning, and what are your goals? If you say that my goal is to develop critical minds, or my aim is to develop ethical citizens, my purpose is to develop problem solvers, those who can solve the problems of this country or this society. So that is your, if I want to know that, then you have to send your teaching philosophy statement to me or to anybody who want to know more about you, or whom you want to tell about you. So this statement can help you. It justifies your teaching, learning, and assessment strategies. Why do you do the way you do? For example, in teaching, there are numerous methods and strategies, lecture method, discussion method, Socratic method, many other, case study method. So if you say that my favorite teaching method is case studies method. Why case studies method? Because you say that I believe that learning is about problem solving. It is about problem solving. For example, so therefore I develop or write some cases in which I show the students that how someone has solved the problem and what happened before and what happened after. So in this way, you can justify why it is your favorite teaching method, and it is connected, and it is uh, compatible with your belief system and value system. It also enhances your understanding and awareness to the philosophy of your discipline as well as your institution. So if you are a science teacher, you I think you should understand that what is the philosophy of science. And if you are a teacher of social science, what is the philosophy of social science? And if someone is from humanities, what is the philosophy of that faculty and that area? So, and my subject is there and my discipline is there. So in this way, it can improve your awareness and your understanding. Next. Yeah, it helps to become reflective, transformative, and mission driven. Yeah, that's important that you become mission driven teacher, and we know that what we are doing. And that is the difference between maybe animals and human beings, that animals are not aware of what they are doing and why are they doing, but we are aware of. If horse runs, it knows that it is running, but it does not know perhaps that why. But if I am teaching, I know that I am teaching, and I also know that why. So there is a big question of why and whys. And when you answer all those whys, it becomes your teaching philosophy or teaching statement. So it also helps you for better performance management with a sense of success, happiness, and fulfillment. Okay. So when we say success, it means you have a sense of achievement, that there was a goal of my teaching and I have achieved. I wanted to develop some sort of students are good mind, critical minds, better persons or citizens, okay, problem solvers or decision makers or leaders. And if you see that your students are taking leadership positions in the market because of, and when even on the teachers, they say that thank you ma'am and thank you sir, it is you and it is because of you that I am today at this position or here, so and so. So that is a sense of success. And happiness is an emotional feeling. You see that it is your inner environment where you also feel that you are doing something commendable, meaningful, purposeful. So you are highly organized and you know what you are doing. And fulfillment is more personal, that you feel that you are transformative, you are becoming better and better day by day. Any other benefit, if you understand that where your teaching statement can help you? What about if you are going to apply for international scholarships or fellowships? Does it help there?
Some of the institutions, they require you, but when you're applying for a job as a
Mhm.
teacher, you really want you to give your statement.
Statement.
Like, what is your teaching philosophy statement?
Mhm.
But yes.
It is.
follow on.
That is also the benefit, right? Now it gives you better understanding of institutional philosophy. This is FCC philosophy. Now here you see that what FCC says, that what is their philosophy, or this is their mission, to impart, create, and disseminate knowledge. There are three tools, and they are important to understand. The mission of FCC is to impart, create, and disseminate knowledge. Maybe you agree with that. Someone said in the beginning of this session that to me, learning is to impart knowledge. It means you are highly compatible with the institutional philosophy. Institution also says that our mission is to impart knowledge. Maybe someone says that my belief or my understanding is learning is about creating knowledge. It is not just imparting knowledge, but it is creating knowledge. I create on my side as a teacher, and I also support my students and facilitate that they are able to create maybe new ideas or new theories or new findings or new ways or new venues. So that is also about creating. And dissemination, there are many ways to disseminate and publish, and it may be through your writings or paper presentations or authorship or whatever is the way. That is also FCC, and you can see that you are with the institution and where you are doing what institution wants us to help it. Then it says that to develop informed, ethical, and responsible citizen. Here also you can identify what is the key word for your mind. You are more interested in developing informed citizens, informed students. It is more about qualification and learning and skills, and or either ethical. It is more religious and moral side of this of the learner, and then responsible. This is more maybe social side of the student. And where do you feel that you can add values here in this institutional philosophy? And again, it says that persons who are prepared and committed to learn, lead, and serve. Again, you are more interested in developing lifelong learning skill in the students who are prepared to carry on their learning. And leadership, you are developing leaders. You are doing all those activities in your classes, that this is the way how leaders do their business or their job or their practices or service. Okay? Altruism, you are teaching them how to serve others. Okay? Or persons who exemplify the FCC motto by love, serve one another. So this is this practice will help you better. Further, institutional goals are developing empowered learners, informed learners, responsible learners. This is the extension of the mission of FCCU. This is just the extension of that. So when we write our mission, our teaching philosophy or teaching statement, these are essential ingredients or essential components of our teaching philosophy. We have to start with our subject matter, and we need to understand the nature of our subject or discipline. That the nature is more about the body of the student or senses of the student, or it is more relevant to the mind of the student or the character of the student or to the heart of the student or to the soul of the student. What is the nature of my discipline? What is the nature of my subject or my course? This is what we need to first of all understand and write about it. That, and then I would come to the outcomes or goals. Then what is my purpose and what is my teaching goal? Then teaching method. Okay. From outcomes to teaching method, then which teaching method is appropriate for this area? If you are working with the mind, then you have maybe different style. If you are working with the hands of the students, you are giving them some practical work, kinesthetic type of learning techniques, or some different kind of, maybe it is a more skill oriented course, then you are more concerned about their typing speed rather than their critical analysis. Okay? And you say that you are composing, you are handling technology or handling keyboard is not appropriate, and I am worried about you. Okay? So then your method is different. than the method of a philosophy teacher or a religious teacher. But you are from a computer science and you are developing maybe some practical skills at the keyboard. Then classroom management, what is the style of your class? How you manage your class means what kind of environment you create in your classroom. This is, you have to write about your project and assignments and the activities you design for your students. This is all the areas where you have to write one or more sentences, one or more paragraphs, and then it will be called your teaching statement or teaching philosophy. And at the end, how do you assess their learning and your teaching as well? What is your best way? What kind of questions? What maybe sometimes there is not at the end of the course, there is not a typical quiz or typical test. Maybe there is just a project, there is just a presentation, there is just a paper. So that is how do you assess their learning as well as your teaching. So these are the important components of teaching. Now exercise here. Exercise number 1. Here is, I have copied here one statement, and you have to analyze and find the gaps, whether keeping in mind these areas, these key areas are essential areas or components. You have to now critically evaluate whether this is a good statement or there are some problems with this statement. This is a statement by a teacher who teaches at school level, 5, 6, 7, 8 grade students, and she says that this is my teaching statement. So you have to evaluate it. Okay. Just in 5 minutes, please, you can give your suggestions. You can take tea or anything. It's a break for
Online participants are requested to please type their comments in the chat box for the activity which is currently on the screen.
You have just to see, does it say something about the beliefs of the teacher about teaching and learning? Does it clarify about the teaching method, class environment or class management? Assignments, what kind of assignments or projects or learning activities teacher designs? Does it say something about that? Assessment strategy, does it say? If you say no, it means when you will be writing your statement, you have to put it in your statement, not in this way. This is not a good one. I also believe that this is not a good one. Yeah, so that is why I have brought it here, that you should understand that I will not be writing in this way. I will be writing in a better way. It is good to start, but not good to finish with it. So what are some specific gaps?
Gaps, so, and I analyze
Okay.
differently.
No,
I appreciate the way this how to address that. And here he's talking about the way that one size does not fit all.
Mhm.
So we have to get the needs of individuals.
Mhm.
So if the size of classroom is small, he can easily manage that, right? And the thing is that teacher is not only making students responsible for their learning, but also making herself responsible for teaching as well. It's providing safe and open environment. And then she's talking about being a facilitator, and she's open to different diversity, and she's open to different ways of the students learn. So this is something that I got from you.
Okay, thank you very much.
And the
It was,
reason,
yeah.
students are not
Okay, it's very good analysis. Anybody else?
I think unique is a very big word. Not all children are unique.
Okay.
All special. And if all children are unique and special, then why isn't every adult unique and special? And at what point do they go from being very unique to being not so very unique? Right?
Okay, so you will be writing differently if you have to write this sentence about the student. That's everybody has its his or her own style of learning, and your responsibility, our teacher's responsibility, is to facilitate all learning styles or learning people. Some people learn by listening, and some people learn by doing, and some people learn by seeing. So this is the response. So I think 2 points are very clear and very much elaborated in the statement, that there are different learning styles, and in a standardized class there are all types of learners, and the writer says that this is my responsibility to create a conducive environment in the class for those students, but it does not talk about many other components of this statement. Back. Yeah, this one. Next.
We
Go
have
ahead,
a
Nat.
few online comments as well.
Okay, about the first one.
Yeah, about the first one. Dr. Saima Majid says repetition of environmental factors and vision is not very clear, and how teacher going to assess students' progress or teaching methodology. Ms. Ikra Javed says this is depicting teaching environment. However, teaching methodology and assessment method is not mentioned over here. Ms. Asma Basharat says that how part is missing. What are the methods that will be used to achieve these visionary goals? Ms. Rehana Jones says that we have to encourage active participants in classroom environment. It's challenging for students and students.
Okay.
Ms. Abia Nazim says that this is ambiguous, very general. Teaching method is not very clear. And
Great.
Rana Rubab says that yes, directions are vague, very general. We need to have a proper rubric for our teaching methodology.
Right. So this is how teachers can write their teaching philosophy or teaching statement. And this is the last slide, and next, go ahead. Last one. Next one. Yeah. So here you can write. This is just if you have pen and paper, you can just write few sentences. What is your course or the nature of course, and then you can say that I believe that. Not only in this way, that you can say that being a teacher of, for example, I would say that being a teacher of religion, I believe that learning is all about personal development, for example. Okay? So it means it covers my subject as well as my belief system just in one sentence. So this is the practice of writing your your teaching statement, your teaching philosophy. You have to start with your discipline, and then about your beliefs and values in teaching learning process, and then clarifying what method do you follow, and justifying as well. Not only just describing it, but justifying it. Ji, madam.
For the online participants, I would request you to please respond to the polling as well. Meanwhile, when you respond to the statement. Thank you.
I would request Dr. Ghazala to add in.
I was just wondering,
as teachers who are so used to teaching disciplines, we create silos for ourselves. We don't step out of our little world. Instead, I think in the Scandinavian countries, they're trying a completely new way of teaching, which is that they take an issue. So, for example, the issue today is environmental change, or just let's say the environment. So instead of getting the teacher of the environmental science department to come and teach, you should have a sociologist, you should have a psychologist, you should have a historian. So that what you do is you teach topics, you don't teach disciplines. So you take those basic problems and issues, whatever they are, and this is the way you get a holistic picture, not by having these tunnel visions.
Right. So is there any suggestion further that when teachers, they develop their own teaching philosophy, so then they should understand better themselves or their society?
They will eventually, because when you hear all the different perspectives, then they will have a better idea of what to do. If that is what we wanted to do, transform society and get people to be as ethically responsible as that. But if we just have these very limited viewpoints, we'll never be able to do that.
Yeah. So since developing your teaching philosophy and statement is an ongoing process, and it does not mean once it has been written, it is for the whole of life. You can try new methods. You can even change your. This is not religious faith. Even in religion, you can change your faith whenever you want. But this is your belief in teaching. You can change over time with new practices, with new understanding. Even you can change your teaching method, and you can try it. But it all depends that when you write your teaching statement, what is the purpose of writing that? If it is for promotion, then you have to write and customize it for that purpose. And if it is for your teaching portfolio or teaching dossier or for international scholarships and fellowships, or just for personal understanding and seeking the meaning in your profession, and it all depends that why are you writing this statement. So today we were just trying to understand that what we are doing, why we are doing, and are we coherent or not? Are we aware of our philosophy of teaching or not? And I am hopeful that we have achieved our small goal, that it will be developing an awareness that we should think about these essential components of our practice as teachers, and we should be able to write it well in a statement. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and I hope with that we will continue this kind of discussion in future as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ghani. And we have a comment from Ma'am Rehana John. She says that Dr. Ghani, developing your teaching philosophy has really refreshed the concept in my mind once again. So I guess with this comment, we'll end the session. Thank you, Dr. Ghani, for this session, and we end this now. Thank you, everyone.